This is perfect. Hello
Excellent.
and welcome. My name is Leap. I use he, him, and this ain't Critical Role, man. So thank you for joining us on as I always fub up the entry. But it is really good to have you here. Welcome to Smallfolk. We are on the Insight Check podcast here on our stream. So thank you very much for coming. It is so good to have you here. We are very, very excited to jump back into the Gloaming. I'm sure everyone who is listening and watching already knows what the deal is, but if you're new, welcome. And Smallfolk is a Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition homebrew where instead of orcs, elves, and dwarves, we have tiny creatures going on grand adventures. And what we are going to do before we get started is I'm going to ask all of our friends to introduce themselves, their pronouns, their characters, and their pronouns too. I did post the order in our chat, but just to be sure, I'll get everyone to start. So Drew, if you could start us off, please.
Definitely. Hi, my name is Drew, and I use he, him. My character's name is Dueler, and his pronouns are he and him, and he is a Smallfolk paladin.
And next up is our good friend, Haley.
Hi, I'm Haley. I use she, her, and I will be playing my Smallfolk cleric of the light, Nutella Brightpaw, and she uses she, her as well.
Amazing. Sorry, I'm stuttering here, but one of the Gloaming's #1 stars and #1 fans is our good friend Nutella. And next up is our friend who made quite the entrance on our last game. Can we please give a good warm welcome for our good friend Dunami?
Yay, it's me. Hi everyone, I'm Dunami. You can call me Adrian. My pronouns are he, him. Today I'll be revising my role as the Stone Badger Barbarian Gindrock, who also uses
So
he.
big, so terrifying.
Very large, not that small as folk go. Pretty.
I love him. He has my favorite entrance of all time. Next up is Eric with his good grumpy beetle bug.
Yep, I'm Eric. I use he, him. I'm playing a Beetleborn paladin named Iscanius, who also uses he, him.
Amazing. Incredible. Next up, we have Alvin.
Uh-oh.
Who might
have been frozen.
in time.
Maybe.
What is this? Sorcery!
Oh wait.
Oh, is he back?
unfrozen.
Are you back?
Yay!
He's back.
He's here!
He lives.
Sorry about this, guys. Yeah, internet, great. So I'm Alvin. I use he, him. I'm playing Aeonix, the Livertail gunfighter, who also uses he, him.
Amazing. Who is also royalty, sort of, by the way, which is rad. I keep bringing it up, but it's rad. And finally, our good friend, a little lighter in the face, but equally handsome.
Who is
our
he?
man.
We're not sure it's him.
Such a mystery.
I may or may not be Ooze.
It's Ooze.
It's me.
It's Ooze.
Me. I use he, him. I'm playing Akka, the Proud Scale singer, and he also goes by he, him. And I'm so happy to be here with everybody.
Oh, man. Something that I want to do right now is I want to give a shout out to our good friend Tom, who goes by Samotep on Twitter. Tom, we're sorry that you can't make it. He is at home. He is working on his animal handling skills because he has 2 5-year-old children that he is in charge of.
He has like 4.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he got extras.
Tiny humans.
I think he's currently eating pizza and s'mores, which really, if you're going to quell those... Yeah, exactly.
Hey, what?
Why
are we all here?
Can we move the game to his yard?
There with s'mores.
I didn't know there were s'mores.
Why weren't we invited for s'mores?
All right,
All right,
stream's
guys,
over.
shut it down.
Bye, everyone.
Yes.
Thanks.
Never understood.
Dunami, you know s'mores, right? That's a thing.
Is that like a marshmallow?
Yeah. Graham crackers, marshmallow that you toast, preferably over like a real fire, and then chocolate, and you smush it together.
Mm-hmm.
The best. Also, if you're really
It's only
desperate,
invented-
you can make them in the microwave.
Yes, you can. The college way.
The college way.
Yep.
Or the
Amazing.
things aren't great right now and I just need a s'more.
Just boom. I love it. So Tom, sorry that you can't be here. We can't wait to see you back again here in June. And our good friend Knox will have an appearance in this game in some capacity. So before we do a recap, there's a few people that I would like to thank. I would like to thank our producer, Jarika, whom I can see on our thing, but you cannot. For you, she is magic. Yep, give her a big round of applause. She's the only reason that this stream exists. I would like to thank my friend Jay, who, when we were having crazy discussions about making a world, he was like, fine, and he made it. So without him, all of the mechanics for a lot of our races wouldn't exist. So thank you very much, Jay. Really appreciate that, buddy. And thank you for the talks that you and I keep having about our games here. I would like to thank Amber's Tide for making the music, D&D Raps. They are making the music that you heard and also the music that you might hear during our game, which is really, really cool. Which is a reason to listen to watch the stream, and when the podcast comes out, to listen to the podcast, because
it's legit. I was listening today, not because I forgot what Aka's voice sounded like, but because I wanted to. And the background music is really good. It adds another level of coolness to it.
It's like, for everyone who's listening or watching, you guys hear that immediately. As the players, we don't. And so going back and hearing all of a sudden like banana stuff, I almost lost a bet. Banana stuff going on. To see that happening is just really, really neat, I gotta say. And finally, well, I would like to thank the cast for being here. It's very busy people who continue to show nothing but enthusiasm for these tiny adventures. So thank you, everyone, for coming. And last but not least, I would like to thank you, the watcher or listener, or however you found this on a Ouija board. I don't know how that's going to work, but thank you for
That would be a
Ouija.
really long process to spell
That would be a
all of it.
Twitch.tv /
If you're doing that, A+ for effort.
Would you have to spell / or would you just do the...
You just draw it.
This is the
I mean,
real
what a
question.
Ouija board's just-
Also, we'd like to thank Leap for taking us through these wonderful stories.
Yes.
Thank you.
Shucks, you're welcome. Thank you for letting me do it. When last we were at the Gloaming, the party was going great. Iskanius had finally been able to find the person that he needed to talk to tell them that their cousin, Chet Bowler, had died. And Bombadar Jambelly is currently in the process of getting him to help him with all of these meals. While this was happening, a giant eruption came from the ground, introducing our stone badger, our ancient stone badger warrior, Grindrock, coming from the earth, smelling a smell he had not smelled in an eon, which made him quite interested. And from there, chaos erupted as the balloons that glowed iridescently revealed horrible mutations of fireflies that then swooped down and tried to attack the party. Our heroes, having fended them off, defeating two and chasing two away with a very timely wind spell from our sorcerer singer, which may have knocked one of our good friends down into the great hole which the stone badger came. And that is where we are going to start off. So, Dueler,
All right.
you are hanging from the piece of a root. You
Okay.
are at least 5 paws from the top of this gigantic hole. You're surrounded in dirt, and it is loose around you. Your grip. You have a grip for a moment, but you know that it's momentary, right? You know that it'll slip just by the nature of it.
So
Tell me first what you're thinking, and tell me what you want to do.
So what Dueler is thinking is his first thought is of his mother, actually, who gave him Dawn as a parting gift.
No, it gets worse.
Parting gift?
What kind of parting
Really?
was it?
She passed away of old age, and that was her last gift to him, was the sword, Dawn. And so his first thought is just of his mother, and then he looks down for the next route down into the hole that he could grab.
You look down and you hear the clanging of the sword kind of ricocheting off of stone. And then there is a ring and then silence as it must have finally hit bottom.
Okay.
There are small roots below you, but they're few and far between. So I'm going to ask you to make an athletics or an acrobatics check to see what you can do to either hold on or move.
I am going to do an athletics check, and I am going to let go of the root that I'm holding onto and try and get my all four paws into the loose dirt to slow my descent to the next root and then try and grab onto that.
Okay, awesome.
15.
All right. You let go and your hands, you let go and immediately you drop and your hands dig into the loose soil and it crumbles around you, but it does slow your fall down as you feel, as you go, you start feeling like the pieces of like wood kind of pass through your fingers as you know that there are root behind the first few inches of this stone. Yep. And as you do this, you tumble, you slide down at least 10 feet, and then you finally are able to grab and hold down, and your hands dig in and hold on, and your body hits hard, and your feet hit even harder on what is no longer dirt, but is actually stone.
Okay.
And that is where you are going to be for a minute.
That works.
As we go above ground to the chaos that has erupted. The last two bugs are flying off into the distance. One of them is kind of on its, trying to catch its wings again. The wind having taken it and nearly blowing it sideways in the current. It's refocused itself, and both of them fly off into the distance of the night. You can see their glowing kind of disappearing through tall grass and up and around and beyond. What was once chaos is now kind of quieting down as you see mice and guests coming out from under tables, looking for each other, kind of taking stock of what was an insane few minutes of calamity. And what I'm going to ask is what the party is now doing. So what I'm going to do is we're going to roll initiative to see how we are going to react. And Dueler, you're going to be just at the top of the initiative, just for the sake of this. So I'm gonna just take notes of this. So Dueler, you don't have to worry. You're already in order.
Excellent.
Dunami, what is Grindrock's initiative?
Do you want me to roll it right now?
Yeah.
A mighty 5.
A mighty 5. All right. Excellent. Okay. Excellent. Grindrock
Don't worry, I rolled lower than you.
Amazing. Alvin, what is Aeonyx's initiative?
17.
Okay. Oh, 1 second here. My Aeonyx with a 17. Ooze, what is Akka's initiative?
That's going to be a 13, sir.
Okay, excellent. Akka with a 13. Iskanius?
19.
Ooh.
Nice.
It's going to be the only good roll I'll have all night.
And Nutella.
I rolled the natural one. But it was only a 3 because I have a +2 to initiative.
Nope, a natural one is a natural one. But I like the attempt. I like it very much.
Very in character.
It's fine, I'm just standing around smelling the herbs and spices. Just
You know what? Sorry, you go. Dunami, you and like both of your characters are right beside each other, so that makes a certain amount of sense to be.
We're just wafting in the.
Well, they're the two chicken-oriented characters right now.
You're the chicken-oriented characters.
Gotta find out those secret herbs and spices.
Exactly. You're closest to the inn. You're most interested in the chicken. Iscanius, you're one of the people that are closest to the mouth of this hole.
Yeah.
Bombadar, you can hear him kind of blubbering under a pile of plates and under tables. Is it done? Is it all finished? You think he was trying to eat while talking to you.
Stress eating.
Yeah, exactly. You see a hand grab out of this pile and find half a loaf, and the hand darts back in quickly. Like, is it safe to come out again?
Do I see Dueler go down the hole?
You would have seen, I'll say that you would have heard the sound of the wind, and let's say that it caught your distraction enough that you heard a clamor, and your natural instinct was to turn, and you saw Dueler kind of just get pushed sideways down, and you saw his hands reach for an edge, and then it just went black, right? You don't see him any further than that.
Dueler is probably the only person Ascanius considers a friend, even though he'll never tell him that. So that's definitely going to be one of those moments where he doesn't care anymore about Bombadar. He doesn't care about this dead mouse. Like, he wants to stop his friend from becoming another dead mouse. So he's just going to book it to the edge of that chasm.
Okay. And just like look right down?
Well, he's going to shout down, Dueler! Like, can I see him?
Yeah, you could see it's dark. And it's dark and it's nighttime. So it's a challenge, but you can see the reflection of an armor, of like the glint of armor.
Yeah, his chainmail.
Yeah, 15 feet down at least. And it's just black down. You actually see, because you're the way that you're looking, you think you see a source of light coming from under him as well. There's something coming down from under him as well. So that also
Gridrock left the lights on.
Yeah, so you can get home, right?
So if you yell Dueler, he's like hanging on in the dirt, and he would kind of like crane his neck as best he could to try and see, and he would call up, "Well, you know me, old chap. Never afraid of the dark."
Let's not go down there. How are we going to get you back up here? And I'm going to start like looking through. I mean, I've got rope. I've got. I think it would probably. Okay, so how much time do I have to work with?
Well, why don't you, if you want, you can either make a decision now to be like, okay, this is.
Because I know what I want to do.
Yeah. Okay, so
I just don't know if I'm going to. So what I want to do is, I carry a couple of different weapons with me. I usually use my spear and my shield. This always bothers me in media whenever you see like, WoW has ruined this for all of us, because it's like, oh, my spear is just on my back now, but that's what we're doing. but I have a glaive, another like long handled spear. I'm gonna like stab that into the ground and tie my rope to it.
Nice.
And hope that's gonna support my massive beetle weight.
Okay.
Plus the weight of this chainmail laden mouse.
Okay.
And I'm gonna try to like rappel down this chasm then.
I'm just picturing that a beetle glaive is like a twig.
With a little leaf on the end?
Yeah, with like a big sharp leaf, yeah.
Yeah, it's so cute.
So you take like a toothpick-sized weapon, right? And just down, attach your rope. And you are trying to work your way down. You give it a test. Seems to be holding fine, right? A little bit of give, but it seems okay. You start working your way down. I would like an athletics check to see.
Okay.
See how this works for you.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's a whopping 4.
Okay.
Oh no.
So, and you know what? This works because I rolled an 8 on my check to see like how well that would hold. So you get down, you get your legs, you kind of like wrap the rope around your torso, your big carapace, and you're kind of start to shimmy down, and you get yourself horizontal, right? And you go down a foot, one more foot, and then it's loose. It just all of a sudden, all of the tension just goes.
That's a nightmare.
Out
Catch
from
him,
there.
catch him.
And you start, your body goes you're like back down, just kind of.
Oh no.
Right, and I'm a beetle, so it's all the legs just sort of like that as I'm falling down, like a beetle on his back.
Awful.
Now, make a dexterity saving throw. You have told me in the past, like your beetle instincts, your wings would come up. And so tell us what happens when Ascanius is, because they have a 30-foot fly. What happens when their wings, when his wings pop open?
So, Beetleborn have wings. They've got the shell on the back that opens, and they've got wings because they're bugs.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks to his #tragic backstory, Ascanius is missing a wing. In fact, all Beetleborn have a title that goes along with them. It's usually a title that either is something heroic, the mighty, the clever, the sparrow killer, or not. And Ascanius definitely falls into the not. So he's Ascanius one wing. So I think probably his natural reaction is that this carapace would snap open, and then he just keeps falling.
So there's that sound, and you immediately your body does it, and And Dueler, see.
And maybe it throws me off. So now I'm spinning. It's like
just
it
double
works.
end over end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This can't be any worse. Oh no, it's worse.
Yeah.
It's black, and you just see it's spinning, and then there's that little bit of light that every so often catches your eye, which reminds you that you're spinning.
Right. Yeah.
Dueler, you see your
a Volkswagen Beetle fall right past you.
He falls. He's about to fall past you.
I mean,
I'm going to give you an opportunity to do something if you want.
It'd be hilarious because I'm really heavy, so this will be great.
Yeah,
I want to see the cliffhanger, esque.
Okay. So I'm definitely gonna grab him. That's 100% a thing.
Yep, totally.
Let me see.
I love this so much. Everyone who's above ground also sees, anyone who's paying attention towards the hole, sees Ascanius prep his descent, and then sees him go down, and then just watches as slowly as the glaive goes like this, and then finally just like that.
Which is great because now that means there's a spear that's going to be following down me.
Right, it's
I was just
following
about to
after
say
you.
a robot.
So
Let's
this
sort of
is
hold on.
what Dula's
Tied
gonna
to
do.
you. It's like a homing arrow. Just
Right.
Basically
How
a
could this go?
harpoon.
Yeah, I'm going to end up like one of those beetles you see in a museum that's got the pin through it, like on a wall. Like,
So as Dueler sees you beginning to like tip over and then this thing falling and you falling, he's like tensing his muscles and he tries to time it as best he can to just like eyeball it, and he pushes off against the rock with all of his might to try and intersect this beetle in the air and push him into the wall so that they'll slide down the wall and hopefully not like actually impact super hard.
Oh my god, yes.
so you're sledding down Ascanius right now?
Yes, if I'm successful, yes.
All right.
Suddenly
If I roll in that one, it's the other way around. You're sledding on Dueler.
Make a dexterity saving throw.
Oh boy.
To see if you can time it the right way.
19.
Oh, nice,
Yes!
nice.
yes.
You push Ascanius as you're spinning. You feel something hit the side of you, and then you feel dirt kind of pressing along you. You both together kind of tumble amongst each other on the rock as you tumble down, the rope wrapping around you that was still kind of attached. But what I'll say is that it ends up mainly with the thick carapace of the beetle pressed down as your bodies kind of slide slower against this for a little bit.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to say at least another 15 feet, and then the momentum of the fall kind of takes you again, and you tumble. You both, Dueler, you'll both notice this. There was light. At some point, you passed a light. You kept seeing it sort of like a little bit of something, and now it's dark, and you fall. You continue to fall for a minute, and then you both land.
Oh no.
And you take just 3 points of falling damage because I rolled badly.
Because I broke the fall. It's fine.
Yeah, well, no, I rolled less dice or fewer dice because of this excellent fall breaking. But you take 3 points of falling damage as you land hard on stone, and there's a reverberation of your fall in this dark space. Now, we're going to leave you both there for a minute as we get to the surface. And
descent.
Aeonix, you saw all of that happen. Well, you saw the fall, right?
Yeah. So I saw Duel go in, and I was instantly starting to run, but I was too far before Ascanius started going.
Yep.
And then I see him going on. I'm like, oh, this is gonna make this harder. So who is near the pit? What characters are near the pit right now?
You
I am.
and Akka are the closest to the pit. You look, and there was the other like lizard, the other proud scale, who seems to be tending to 2 small mice girls who are by a game. He seems to be like checking on them. He is kind of over dealing with people there. And then the mouse folk cleric is by the entrance of the inn, of the trail side, very close to the great creature that emerged from this hole itself.
Okay. So yeah, Aeonix is gonna continue his bull-headed rush towards the hole, and he's gonna, as he's running, grab his rope and say, proud scale, catch and hold on, and he dolphin dives in.
Oh no.
Yes. Oh.
This is a lot easier if the big beautiful one was up top.
All right. Make a ranged attack for the rope throw.
All right. That's a nat 20, so a 27.
Oh, okay.
Did you just lasso me instead of like throwing it at me?
Akka, you look up and there is a rope coming right at your face. You really just have to, your reaction, you catch it before you even realize that you were going to catch it. It was boom, right? You jump. Now, Akka, make a strength or athletics saving throw.
Oh boy.
Yeah, that's what puzzles are good at, right?
I have an idea, and let me try to say this. Am I next in the
Please.
initiative? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah. You're next in initiative.
Okay,
So
let me say this, Leap.
This
I
is good.
want to see if, like, in that moment he grabs the rope, he sees what's happening, and he just. Does he have time to slam down his staff, cast Mage Hand, have the Mage Hand also push against the staff? I know it only does 10 pounds, but it'll look really cool. Like,
it looks really cool, and I'm gonna say yes. It's
does
gonna.
that also
yeah,
convey me advantage?
I like it, and I will say yes.
Yes!
Yeah.
He's so
Yeah.
bold.
It's really
that's
cool.
That PR,
I'm gonna
yes.
let you do it. Yeah.
I don't know which way I'm pointing at you. Where are you? You're
I
somewhere
think
over there.
I'm high. I think I'm the top. I think I'm above.
That's
Let's really hope that I don't die today.
It's a 16, sir.
Okay. All right. So the 16 is pretty good. You're holding as hard as possible. You, Aeonix, dove. You put basically your whole strength into a dive. So here's what you're going to do.
Yep.
You're going to roll a d20 and add your strength modifier. And
please be below 16.
and if it's under a 16, is
Oh, God.
good. And if it's not,
You're gonna land on
And
us.
Yeah, it'll be
Y'all
a
look
big
good.
party.
If the rest of the party looks up, you just see like Akka turn around, like the hood falls off. He's got his staff planted. There's another extra hand, and like you see like the red, like lizard neck start
The
going.
frill.
Because he is just
Yeah.
as much as his frail little sorcerer body has.
Alright. Also, my lowest roll today has been a 14, so let's hope this is lower.
Yeah, you need to stink this one up, kid.
all right, let's see.
That is a 14.
Plus your strength modifier.
14.
Okay, all
Oh,
right.
good.
I have zero strength.
Nice.
It is your whole body jerks forward, right? Like the pull that happens on this staff is almost enough to topple you entirely over. You pull hard, you feel the weight of that magical hand pull, and you actually feel, it's almost like you can feel the magic cracking, right? It's like the spell itself is straining under the weight of this pulling that you are doing. A minute later, you feel like as you're doing this, the ground around you kind of centers around your legs. You just feel like as you feel yourself sink down not more than a couple feet into the stone, and it anchors your weight, and you see the other proud scale look, and you see him from afar waving his hands and casting mold earth or shape earth as his magic kind of anchors you down to help you in your anchoring. So you're solid. You like you take a look at your feet, and you can pull them out if you need to, right? But the other person, Nox, has just helped you in this moment to make sure that that Aeonix won't pull you down.
Oh, thank goodness.
Mhm.
Thank God I'm not gonna die today.
Hey, I have a question for you. How long is that rope?
It's a rope, so it's like 50 feet or something.
50 feet? Okay.
It's gonna hurt. I know.
Okay.
Ooh.
You go and you
Yep.
and you go and you go, and there's like you go through a moment. Make a perception roll for me. A falling perception roll.
It's gonna hurt. Oh, I have a new lowest roll for the night. That'd be a solid 4.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
You're
You're
too
just
busy
falling.
falling.
Don't worry
You
about
don't
it.
see
Yep,
nothing.
you're too busy falling. As you fall, it gets darker. As you fall, it gets colder, and it goes. And then all of a sudden, it just stops hard. It stops hard, and your hands go out, and your palms hit ground.
Is it like I thought it was gonna be like a wind.
Ooh.
You just go, and your hands hit the stone, and like it jars your hands back, and they go
Yikes.
numb with sensation for a minute. As
But I'm alive.
You're alive, yeah. That's why I wanted to see how long your rope was.
I figured.
Yep. But you are alive. You are dangling. You guys hear this. Everyone who's in it as well. Just hear like a small hit of the ground and like a tensing of the rope. And it's at that point, Aka, where you feel that tension kind of happen. So I'm gonna say, are you all right that that's your turn? Right? Like I think that would have been. Or do you want to do something now?
I mean, that's really all I could do would be cast the spell, try to hold, but he would just be like, he knows he can't hold this up.
Mhm.
Did he hit ground like on the side, or did he hit ground on the bottom?
On the bottom. The rope
Okay.
itself is tense still. You don't feel any slack, right?
But I don't know. I don't know how much further he could fall. Okay.
No. You just felt that the slack has now tightened.
Oh, okay.
He
so
knows
doesn't.
that he's at the bottom.
So
Yeah.
I wouldn't know. He could fall for another couple 100 feet as far as I don't know how deep the hole is.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if he did that,
Oh,
Nox
no.
saved me. He would look up, and obviously the biggest thing here is what came out of the hole, and he'll he's sitting there like on his staff, just straining, like blood vessels popping in his eyes, just dying. He's like, "You, big guy, you, help!"
And
he's obviously talking to Grindrock because he's the biggest thing here.
Grindrock, it's actually your turn. So you've slain you and this small mouse cleric that you find beside you has slain 2 of these monstrous beasts. The other 2 have flown away. You hear some creature calling for what must be you, right? Not using your name. How could it know? But you assume that this thing is calling for you. There's still from your left, there is a large, like the stump of a tree is a chimney. And from that chimney comes the smell that erupted you, that woke you from the earth.
Oh crap! I know where this is going. I'm out. See y'all later.
No, we need you, Aka. One of us specifically needs you.
I'm still raged, actually. Like,
Yeah, you're all still raised.
in my rage, I think faded away from my perception. And it's been a long time since I've opened my eyes. I'm operating on pure instinct, and right now, that instinct, well, part of it can hear. I'm guessing there's a lot of shouting and shrieking. I'm used to that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Right, so it's your Godzilla. Yeah, no.
There is a delicious smell right now.
Mm-hmm.
There's a kindred spirit in the tiny cleric at my foot, feeling emboldened. I bellow out and say, "The feast is beginning."
Hopefully not with your
Let
Let
head.
us play. I say, wait, things that are over. I think while angry, I speak in a very overly dramatic and verbose fashion, if not a bit Shakespearean. Before I just throw my sword down and tear towards this chimney with the smell of chicken leading me on.
Amazing. Nutella. So yeah, you're gonna take you take a run. It will take your. It won't even take your full move to get to the chimney, right?
Like 2 steps.
You're tall enough that it would take, if you reached your hands up, you could pull yourself up over and into this thing, if you so desired. And it's wide, but with the width of your arms, you think you could descend down it the same way that you had to descend down the tunnels that your parents made as a kid, right? Like, you had to follow them under the earth, and the tunnels that they made were big enough that they just fit, but you were small. So you had to develop a way to get down safely, right? When following them. And so you think if you had your arms wide, or if you braced yourself kind of leg and arm, and then you think you could slide down this chimney towards the kitchen if you so desired.
He does so desire. In fact, I think the thing that he does is, imagine Scrooge McDuck diving into the money pile. This enormous form, slowly squats and then lunges and plunges snout first. Have you ever seen a fox dive into like a snow pile looking for small folk, much like yourselves, but that and then I guess just try to wiggle down the chimney, hopefully slick with grease from the fumes. Like your range top on your stove, it accumulates. Actually, good seasoning. I think Gindrock. One way or another, everyone in this episode needs to descend into some kind of dark hole, and this is how Gindrock does it.
Gindrock wouldn't know what a chimney is, though. Like, at the bottom of that, there is ouchies. Like, does he know that?
Who can say? What's that?
He's raging.
True, it's fine.
And as he's raging, lightning is literally sparking out of him. His fur is standing on end with the static electricity of it all. It's the dust clouds billowing up off his fur and back.
Nutella, you see this. I
was gonna propose, is it possible that if we were standing together, like, I'm picturing with her little paw on Gindrock's leg, like we're both sniffing the breeze, and I think in the moment when he would have started to go, she would have made a grab to try to just take a little ride on his leg, like she's holding onto his back leg.
Even better.
Just go along.
Gindrock's cloak is covered with stone tablets. He is basically
she's just in there.
Yeah. So make an athletics check. We're doing a lot of those, I guess. Make an athletics check with advantage, because this is great. Because you're hopping a ride to Chicken Town.
Chicken Town. Apparently I'm not much of a hero. I just. Oh, it's not. Oh wait, you said with
advantage. Yeah.
Great. Yeah. That's good, because that first roll was trash. That one.
Is the second roll?
The second roll is a 14.
That'll hold. So he turns, and as he turns, this big cape of stone kind of moving parts, and it sounds almost like wind chimes as it moves together. You see this move, and you see him lunge, and you take a grab for one. You basically reach your whole mouse arms and legs just around it, right? As I just watched the first episode of season 8 of Game of Thrones, and I'm not going to say anything, but this is very reminiscent of that for some reason, and it just goes very quickly all of a sudden, and
I picture that she's sideways, just her snout sticking out.
Amazing.
And her whiskers are just twitching happily.
No. Cut for a moment to a very busy yet efficient mouse kitchen 2 stories down. There are these rotisseries going, and there are mice moving all about, and there's a mouse in a very big hat kind of calling the shots.
Is his name is their name? Is their name Remy?
It is now.
They're mice, not rats, Ooze.
Yeah. So Remy, the mouse, is calling things up, and they are plating. And you hear mice talking about like there are mice chattering about what these things are and how weird it is, but also how delicious they are. And you see them plating things with little bits, and then there's a small static in the air, and everyone's fur rises, and then there's a to the ground as this body falls from a giant chimney and just lands like, I'm gonna say like paws and claws down, right? Just boom down. There's a
Ready for action.
And Nutella will shout, "Don't worry, we're just here to eat some chicken."
Mice scurry and flee in fear as like plates get knocked over and dishes are thrown up in the air as like and there's a very hot sensation on your body, Gindrock, as you fall basically belly first onto the stove. So it will, for someone of your magnitude, it's going to cost you a whopping
Magnitude. That's good.
3 points of damage as like the griddle kind of hits you on your belly. And as you see plates and you see dishes, and it's like, think of an industrial mouse kitchen just fleeing because a meteor of badger just dropped down into the center of it.
Industrial mouse kitchen. Never thought I'd hear those words together.
You know, the world is an amazing place, and this game makes me really happy.
As it should.
So, back to the tunnel for a minute, and to the other.
I had a whole plan where I was going to help you guys with the light, but
We'll turn this around. They're gonna need like the chicken MacGuffin to save them from down there somehow.
Chicken MacGuffin, yes.
It's the
We will
wishbone.
get the wishbone of destiny.
Yeah.
Who knew that was a spell component for rescue friends? It's a 5th level spell.
Exactly. There you go.
We have a scroll of it.
A scroll of rescue friend.
So we're going to come out of initiative order for a second here because all of the action has kind of settled for a minute, and we have 2 places that our party is. There's everyone at the bottom of the hole. Akka, you're still at the top of this. You see the badger. You're trying to call to the badger, and you see Gindrock just run and jump and dive, and you see a small mouse body kind of attached to its back, giddily hiding along.
He's still just like this, and he's just expletive deleted.
Yep. Just holding on. And so, you know what? What do you want to do first? Because you're the odd man out here.
Oh God.
You have a lot of power.
You're holding on for dear
No, he
life.
does not. He does not have any of that.
Yeah.
Okay. How many? There's no way I'm getting the badger back. That's not happening.
Nah, he gone.
I'm afraid to turn around and scream down the hole because I'm afraid if I move at all, like I'm going to lose grip on this thing.
Mm-hmm.
How many? How many adult mouse folk are around still that aren't aren't hiding still, that are up and starting to move?
Aren't fleeing in terror at the bat.
Yeah.
Just tore a hole through the side of the inn.
You went down the chimney, nothing broke, I don't think.
I honestly thought that he was going to tear through the inn. I was ready for inn destruction. This is actually like the calmest. This is the easiest way. The path of least resistance to the chicken. This is good. So once that happens, you see that like mice are pulling themselves out from under things, right? They're checking loved ones. They're dusting themselves off. Mice have a keen sense of when danger is starting and ending, and they have come to the sense that it is now calm above them. So some of them are putting tables back up, some of them are checking with each other, but you don't think it would take much to get the attention of any amount of the party at this point in time.
Yeah. Okay. In that case, he's going to look up and while he's holding it, just go, "Mouse folks." And he is like shaking and struggling. This is not like him just screaming. He is struggling to stay not dead here because he's about to get flung into this flipping hole.
Yep.
He's like, I need your help. Please, come, as many of you that are able, that are healthy, come help grab a hold of this rope because I can't hold it any longer. And if he can make a persuasion if he needs to, or he'll just help. Either way.
You know what? I'm going to give this one to you because you've done some good stuff already. There's mice that clearly see you are the person in the most strain at this point in time. Very few mice are injured. Everyone is just bruised and scraped up a little bit. And so quickly 5 able-bodied mice of just come, and one of them kind of first holds you, and then the other ones kind of reach under where the staff is, and then one kind of reaches above your grip, and they all just like lean back, and then there are more mice that kind of come and wrap around them, and as many hands that can get on this staff kind of pull, and you feel the tension of this ease, just like very much so. So you're no longer straining for your life against this thing. Aeonix, you now realize that you are a mere 2 feet from the ground.
Alive.
And alive. Your hands hurt pretty bad. But what are you going to do about it? You're hanging there, right? Like,
Yep.
Yeah.
So do I see the Vitaborn and Mouse?
It's really dark in there. It's really, really dark. So you don't see anything, but there's the sound of at least 2 other creatures down there, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna just call. Anyone want to ride back up?
So at this point, like once Dueler has hit the ground and like stopped moving, basically he is. Let me see. I do have dark vision because I'm a Smallfolk.
Yep.
And so he is just looking for Dawn. And as soon as he can see it, he is going to just like scramble his way. First, he's going to look at Ascanius and kind of give him like a pat on like the chest.
Yeah.
And just say, "You good?" And that's enough. And he goes.
You think of Dawn, right? You're looking around, and then in your head, you hear the voice of your mother, and you hear "Dans la nuit, tu vas toujours être la lumière, ma chérie," which you know means in the night you will always be the light, my love. And at that point in time, there is a glimmer 20 paws away at the edge of in this cavern. There's just like a spark that kind of begins to shine, and like a sunrise, it slowly builds along the edge of the floor, and then just kind of Dawn's light kind of rises into itself until it starts at the blade, at the bottom of the hilt, and kind of works its way up the blade until the whole of the cavern is lit from this sword.
So Dueler, he like kind of scrabbles off and is looking around, and as soon as he hears this and he opens his eyes and sees that light, he is down on all fours and like straight up like Scrabble sprinting as quick as his little paws, all 4 paws can get him, because that's faster than trying to use only 2 feet.
For sure.
And he's going right to it.
You grab it,
Mhm.
You hold it, and as you grab it, it gets brighter. And I will describe to you what you see after the break, but but what I need Iskanius to do first is just make a very quick dexterity saving throw.
There you go. See what you get for asking questions in the internal chat, Derek.
For those of you on the stream, we were wondering where the glaive is.
As long as
You
it
know, that
doesn't cut
falling-
my rope.
Well, see you in a second.
That's true. It has to
Who
get. Oh no.
Oh no!
It's gonna kill me.
So, that like pin and bug thing we were talking about.
Oh no!
Did you roll one?
Oh no, he froze. It was so
Oh,
bad.
is he frozen or is
Oh,
he
he's
just
back, he's back.
distressed?
Just
Okay.
rage
back.
quit.
So what was the
Yeah,
number?
that was a 1.
The one.
No!
No!
Yeah.
We're all so
All right.
dead.
So Dueler scrambles off of you. You have a moment of, oh God. And then
Yeah, he pats me on the chest and is like, "All right, bye."
he pats you on the chest. He gets you like,
Oh no!
and then there's a as the damage of the spear pierces through your thorax and through your shoulders. How much damage does that spear do by chance?
It's 1d10 plus 2.
All right, so roll the 1d10 and add 2.
Okay.
Do I just
8.
painted the target?
8? Okay, so you
8.
get 8 piercing damage as it cuts through you. And it just pins your shoulder down to the ground. And that, my friends, is where we are going to take our break. We are going to be gone for about 5 minutes, and we are going to come back to see what they find underground and where is this chicken going to finally come from.
Chicken?
Will they get their chicken?
Will it be delicious?
Who knows? Tune in next time or in.
I'm gonna be
5
upset if
minutes.
it's only some.
All right. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you in 5. Hello, welcome back. It's good to see you.
You're still here.
You're still here. Thanks for coming. There's no weird thing that I did before going on. Not at all. Not a single weird thing happened.
Not even a little bit. Totally
Not at all.
normal.
Totally normal things.
We didn't talk about like any sort of animal grease or anything.
No
whatsoever.
animal grease.
We
Now
are
we're
in
talking.
a kitchen.
We are in, some of you. So, when last we were here, 5 minutes ago, the bottom of our great cavern is now alight with the holy power of an inherited sword. There is a very new science exhibit that's beginning as we see a Beetleborn who has yet to get his scientific classification written on top of him, but he is now properly pinned. Maybe not right in the center, but enough. We have a pack of mice helping Akka. We have a Mission Impossible style weasel. Otter, I'm sorry. Otter, how dare I? How dare I? Just spinning in the darkness. And we have a kitchen nightmare by any stretch of the imagination.
Where's Gordon Ramsay?
Oh my goodness.
We have Remy.
We do have Lemmy. And his sous chef Gordon Ramsay will say from and so that is where we are at. So what we are going to do is I'm going to describe the cavern, and we're going to give a minute in there, and then we're going to get back to the kitchen because the kitchen is somewhere that I want to spend some time in. So the whole bottom of this place lights up, and anyone who is looking will find that you are in like a composite stone cavern. The whole thing is like a shale, and the colors match the colors of the badger itself who pulled himself out of it. You will see that along the walls, at first the walls seem rough. They seem rough like they're peeling. But anyone who takes some time to look, it will see that there seems to be on each like peel, there seems to be text that is written or images that are written on this space that are kind of, some of them are hanging off as if they're ready to fall. Some are still in the stone themselves with only like a part of it beginning to remove itself from the wall. Some of them are in the process of almost like sloughing off of the cavern proper. And they kind of hang, and so they create, it's almost like a chandelier. They almost like hang around, and so the light hits them in interesting ways. Almost like if a disco ball, but on the inside, kind of, right?
Okay.
And I can't see any of this, right?
You're looking at the ground. And so if you, the light is there, and your head is enough that you could put your hands on the ground and you could kind of look and see now that everything's lit. It's lit. And
L-I-T, lit.
Oh God. Anyways, I'm not going to sidetrack.
Did anybody dab?
And
Ascanius, because you
There it is.
I'll do it
because
now.
you're
I'm really
looking
bad
at
at it.
you see the hole that you came out of, right? And then you see all of this, like from the top, it's almost like some of them are peeling as if they're like almost like stalactites, like they're peeling off like paper. And then they're like peeling again more, and they kind of fall, they create a round cavern of these small thin slabs of stone, like these long, they're not very, like a foot thick wide max, but they've got images and texts and all sorts of things that seem to be either written or appearing on them. Aeonix, you're still hanging. What are you doing? What are you gonna do?
So I like called out, seeing if anyone wants to ride, and heard no response. So I'm just kind of, spinning slowly in a circle, going, Did I go too far? Anyone down here? Did I jump in the wrong hole?
So Dueler is gonna, like, he has turned, grabbed the sword, and then as he kind of like ran up and grabbed it, and he like was on all fours, ran, and he like leapt and grabbed it and like brought it close and like kind of landed on his back, and then he takes a second and Aeonix, it would probably be like echoey in here, right?
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Yeah. So you would just hear just a kind of like the sound of him whispering. You don't know what it is he says, but he's whispering to the hilt. And then he is going to, I'm assuming at that point, see the glaive just impale Ascanius.
Yeah.
And then immediately after, this is Aeonix is talking. And so he takes a second, looks between the two, and just like hops up and starts running. And he's got the blade out, and he's looking to slash the rope and then make his way to Ascanius.
Oh no!
Okay. You slash the rope. You fall. You take a whopping 1 damage as you just kind of like you
Fall
bump
flat
your
on my
head.
face.
Yeah, you
There
fall
is
flat on your head.
There is a new proud scale catapult invented.
Yeah, because otters are not small folk.
All of these people surround you. The weight is lifted. Feel your arms fine, and your legs are like you're like mid calf deep in soil. So you like, because your friend, your proud scale anchored you down, right? And then all of a sudden there's a violent push backwards, right? And you
And both of your legs break.
just
Snap it
your
off.
torso flies, leaving your legs behind. No.
And we'll just go ahead and
It's a
take this
family
character
show.
and throw it away.
Yeah.
No,
Burn
you just fall, like you go flying back, and your legs keep you, and you just kind of land on the dirt hard, like your legs up,
Just-
kind of. It's awkward. Yeah. As you hit the ground, though, you just see mice, just like, just as in every direction, just up into the
Oh
air.
no!
One
Like a seed pod.
exactly.
Please tell me the rope doesn't fall down on top of me.
No,
On top
yeah,
of
it's
you?
It's still connected to me.
Yeah, it's still just hanging. It's connected. Yeah, the rope is still attached to you. That's right. It's not even like you held onto your staff. Is it attached to your staff, or is it just attached to you?
I think I caught it, and then
Uh-huh.
kind of, I guess it was one of those things where, like, I fumbled it,
Right.
and it was wrapped around like my arm, and then I just instinctively grabbed and stabbed with the staff.
Okay. Yeah.
So it's probably just like wrapped around my arm a couple times. It was probably some nasty like
Rope
kid
burn?
angry,
Oh,
yeah, rug burn,
burn, yeah.
rug burn on the arm.
I'm gonna say you took 2 rope burn damage, right? Like I'm just gonna say, just like the strain of those first few minutes, I say, like with the rope digging into your scales. I would say that there would have been some. Now you wouldn't have felt it in the stress of the moment, but now that it is gone, you can tell the wear on your body that such an exertion kind of created, right? You are able to, if you want, you are able to, as soon as you try and move your legs, you can move them. You're not locked into the earth at all. Whatever magic this druid has cast around you seems to be within your range of movement. So what would you like to do?
What I could do? I could get up, like grab his staff, like just look and make sure like the mouse folk that helped him out were okay.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as all of those folks are okay, he would go over to the edge of the cliff and he would shout down, and just as loud as he can, like, "Are you all okay?
Okay.
Are you okay?" Like he can't see anything way down there. I don't think I have dark vision.
There is.
Well, dawn is lit, and that's
Oh yeah.
20 feet of bright light and then 20 feet of dim light.
It'd be close.
You
It
see.
would look like a dot.
Yeah.
No, you see a light. You see like
Okay.
there's a light source at the bottom that is emanating up. It's hard to see what it is because it's like 50 paws down.
Yeah.
But you see that there's definitely a source of light coming down from there, right?
He's just his game plan for right now is to scream to make sure that everyone's okay, because all he knows is the rope broke, and then he doesn't know how far it is.
Mhm.
Totally.
And I don't know if they can hear me or not, but
Can we hear them?
Yeah, you can hear him. There is
Okay.
there is a crumbling, like there is a shifting of some stone above you. And it's not big and it's not dangerous, but there's like a loosening of stone that kind of crumbles. You see it, Ascanius, you kind of see it bouncing down around the sides of one side of the tunnel. And at first you're like, oh, not this again, but it just falls harmlessly away from you all. And for both of
Good.
the rest of you, it's just kind of like rubble and dust kind of falls away. So there's that, and then a moment later, you hear the yelling of some kind of voice. And Dueler, you recognize this voice as the Proud Scale lizard folk
I was chatting
at
with.
the bar. Yeah, that you were chatting with. So you recognize this voice. Aeonix and Ascanius would not.
Okay.
Could I shout up and say, "Good catch, Proud Scale"? Oh.
Dueler's like, so he cut the rope. He's running, and I don't know how you want to play this, but for the two of you that are down here with him, up until this point, he's been kind of like relatively, not like super fast, super speedy. He's an older mouse. But in this moment, he like sprints, cuts the rope, and he like kind of jumped to cut the rope, and then lands and pivots and like pushes off in another jump to go kind of like spiraling towards Ascanius. And when he lands on his knees and slides up to him, sets the sword down, and he would say, "No, my friend," and he would like check on Ascanius. He would put his hands on Ascanius and immediately lay on hands.
Awesome.
Which is appreciated because Ascanius is at 6. So he's near dead.
No.
Yeah, yeah, and yeah, Dueler would say, "Not now, my friend, not today," and he would put his hands and he would lay on hands. And I have 15 hit point pooled, so I would right to the top until I feel that he's 100% back up.
I love it. You lay on hands, and as that happens, Ascanius, you feel your chitin and your sinews forming. You feel your body actually propelling the blade out from it. The magic kind of like pushing it out like a splinter, but really quickly. And so normally, I mean, you can use some of your smaller hands to help with the process, or you can just let that happen. But the healing is removing the blade from your body. As you then gain feeling in your big arm again, and you feel a renewed sense of life as your friend helps you out.
Friend, in quotes.
Well, I think, Ascanius in that moment, because of who he is, would sort of be like flustered and probably really annoyed because it didn't escape his notice that the first thing that happened was that Dueler ran off to go get a sword. So he gets up and he goes, "The sword first?"
And Dueler, at this point, he reaches one hand out, probably to grab one of the like smaller arms, the hand there, to help you up. And he would say, "Well, I mean, family first." And then with the other hand, he reaches down. After he's helped you up, he reaches down and he like backhand grabs the sword just to like have it as a light source.
And Aeonix is sitting back on his tail eating popcorn doing this.
Just a small bag that you've had pocketed, just eating. What do you say? What's your color commentary? Or are you just watching quietly?
So quiet, but in his head he's thinking, sword is gonna be used. No, it doesn't. Oh, always gotta know.
There is a rumbling. There's a rumbling from the ground around you.
So we have a new party involved.
Which we'll get to in a minute, because we're going to a kitchen.
Yes.
So, Grindrock, I keep putting an R where it shouldn't be. Gindrock, I always put the R in the wrong spot.
Is mise en place impressive and didn't?
I do too, actually.
Okay.
Whenever I'm thinking of my character, I'm just like, it's Grind. No, it's Gindrock.
Gindrock. Yep. Gindrock, you land, and you've already taken some damage from the heat of the stove. And you look around, and I assume that it's as easy as you land down, and it's a simple, like, you extend your elbows, right? And the heat source is far enough away that you don't have to worry about it anymore. So it's not going to be an ongoing damage kind of a thing. And you look, and it smells rich in here, and it smells like that savory beast that you have fought. But it's weird because it's everywhere, and you look, and instead of seeing one massive creature being cooked on a spit like your forefathers did with you, right? In celebration, when you once hunted and bagged one of these things as a pack, right? You see these very small, it's like stone, but it's white and circular. It's too perfect. And it's like small versions of them are in a line, and it's like their chicks aren't even this small. They're these tiny, puny little nothings that are neatly pressed up like chiclets, with like very small bits of grass leaf and like other little denouement beside the dish, right? Some pieces of potato or something. This is wholly wrong. You smell it everywhere. But you see these small, like when your eyes go to the first source, the closest one, and that's what you see.
Right. His rage fades, first of all. Mechanically, that is also true, I think, because I'm not going to attack anyone this turn. But I think also the shock of it, like, at first he thinks, I get. Then seeing the scattering of the rest of the small folk, it's like, no. I think what he says is, he picks up an entire row of rotisserie chickens and then does it, regardless of whatever is like going on around him. He takes one off the top and starts chewing it. How does it taste?
It tastes good. It tastes like the beast that you ate, right? It's spiced differently, but it is very, very tasty. It is savory. It's too quick though. The first one, it's like it's just in your mouth and it's gone, right?
Once you pop, you can't stop.
There's like,
so I think he chews that one. He has a thought about it, and then he just starts grumbling out loud. Like, things have changed since I've gone to sleep. And then he looks up and he's eating the rest of them.
Yeah.
And he goes to get the next one, and so on and so on. I'm really curious though. I think he would know he's got his back.
Stowaway.
Right?
I think so. I think, you know what? I think now that it's all settled, there's a weight disparity and there's something moving, right? So, Nutella, you pop out your snout and you see like your ride is moving, and you see the chaos of this kitchen, and you see his massive arm just kind of like below, like a little bit in front of you, was another stove, like an open fire, where there was these spits with like chicken stacked on, and he just grabs a whole one and just like a kebab.
Yeah.
All of them just like.
First one, and then just in a minute, and then he
And
grabs
they're
for
pretty
another
big
one.
to me, right?
For you, they're a watermelon size,
Okay.
right? Like this would be like a full meal, right? This would be a hearty meal for you, right? And there are chicken on the floor with the plates toppled over. All of the mice are making their way out. There is on a far wall, you see a crack in like the wall itself, and there doesn't seem to be anything after that, right? That seems to be maybe damage that happened because of the fall. There's like a crack there. But then the kitchen itself is a part of a greater infrastructure. So you see like doors and alleyways, and you see like everywhere that people are escaping to, that different things are happening, right? But this is like one wide, gigantic room where most things are cooked and prepped. So Gindrock, you definitely know that there's someone on your back. What do you do?
I think I know that it's well, I want to set the scene in that he's having these pensive thoughts that he's kind of mumbling half out loud while chewing on whole chicken carcasses at a time. And he's grabbing as much as he can see as quick as he can, and every now and then he's picked up a Smallfolk, one of the mice, and is about to put that one down. I mean, if you go for the grab, you're going to pick up a couple of things at once, and he's just trying to see which of that is edible and which of that is sentient. I think at one point, once he's at least taken the edge off the hunger, he kind of like, and then like flexes some muscle in his back, and out just goes whoop, like pops out Nutella. Who you immediately would recognize from the and says, "You two are wise in the old ways. Eat first, talk later."
Yes, and she's holding like a potato wedge that's like minuscule, but like giant to her, and she's just like.
I think on this row of chickens, he eats like the top 5, and there's one left, and then he just. And then, like, hands the entire chicken to
she like has
Nutella.
to kind of like
Says,
tucks it under her arm, and she takes a little bit off, and she's like, "Thanks for the ride."
What is your name?
I'm Nutella. What's your name?
I'm Gindrock of Farloon. What year is this?
That's a good question that I know the answer to. Leap, help. What year is it?
Oh man,
Invent an entire calendar system right now, Lee.
Make up a whole calendar system.
It's the 5th of the 7th of the
426.
year.
Yeah,
Of the-
you know what that is?
426?
Of the third age. Yeah.
There are we'll say for now that there are official, like if you went into libraries, there are official systems, but how your family would have always described it is you would have a reference point, right? You would have said this is like the third summer since the longest winter, right? Or this is like
this is the third gloaming since the early frost.
Exactly, right? And like for everyone who you know, that would make a ton of sense, right?
And it doesn't make any sense to this giant underground creature.
No.
And I'll just say that while like she's got the cheeks and all that, so just tucking it in there, and she's just like, yeah, it's the third gloaming since the early frost. Isn't this chicken good?
He says, chewing. It is good.
We may start reckoning years. This may be the most eventful gloaming yet. So this might be
He
like.
says, well, I'm happy to be of service in that regard. They change the calendar system every time I wake up. That's 1,000 years.
1,000 years?
but from the air it smells early.
Early?
What is the gloaming?
The Gloaming? It's a holiday where we get together and we celebrate our family food and the end of the longest days of the year.
And does
we
it normally...
Does it normally what?
Does it normally end in chaos and bloodshed?
It's usually quite calm. There are party games. I won this ring. She's like showing him the ring that she won.
He squints all the way in. He's just like,
Tiniest.
good ring.
Gives me protection. But there's not usually much chaos. Like the most chaotic thing I think is that happened is when Uncle Bartholomew had many ciders one year, pushed over the dunk tank, and then everything was wet. That was probably the most chaotic that it's been in my lifetime.
I don't understand many of the words you just used.
And then she starts to try to describe what cider is like. It's made out of fruit that's gone rotten, but it's not bad. But it makes you feel kind of funny. No?
Oh, I'm well acquainted with such substances.
Oh,
Now,
okay.
where can we
great.
find some?
There was some back upstairs.
There.
And then I'll just say, then lead on.
Then she's like looking around trying to find big enough.
And then he's just casually grabbing a few of the skewers, like to tuck in later.
To go.
You so looking around, Haley, like Nutella has the right sense of it. Like looking at him and looking at this place, there are like he leaned over is 15 to 20 feet tall, right? Like Gindrock, I don't think you can stand straight up in this kitchen.
No, but I do think as a result, he's sort of destroyed the kitchen in this whole sequence.
Entirely.
Just moving the bulk.
Just like knocked everything over.
There's
Oh
like
wait, and Nutella's like every time I have my favorite spell. Every time he knocks something over, she's like trying to mend it. Just like quietly though. She's
just kind of like.
it's like there's a
like,
plate
it's
that
still like destroyed, but she's like fixed all the broken dishes.
It's mayhem, and then like 1 square foot of wall that's just pretty okay.
It's fine.
there's definite grooves. Like when your back gets up, you create grooves in the tiled like ceiling. You knock over all of their different stations as you go, and Haley, Nutella sees only a single door that is as wide and as high as the roof itself. Everyone else is as tall as you, but for some reason they need a door that is that big, right? And I mean, in previous Gloamings, you have seen the chimney be used as a way to get things in and out. Like you remember the year before the cider incident, they had an onion which they had fully cooked, and they actually used a pulley system to kind of pull out, and then it opened up and it bloomed in kind of the middle, right?
Wow.
And so they have a system to get big things up and down, right? And so but there's this only single door that would allow, maybe that's like where the big storage is or something, but that's the single place where this new giant friend of yours will be able to get through.
She'll go over and be like, let's try to go this way and see if we can find some cider, and she's like pushing the doors open.
Mm-hmm.
I think he'll just kind of like, I think his eyes have also gone from like, they're kind of like shark eye black and like, yes, to just, quite pleased now and friendly in appearance after he's had something to eat.
He was just hangry, that's all.
Yeah, I was just hangry. She's still carrying the chicken.
The entire chicken, yes, please. Yeah, I think Gindrock will follow. I don't think he's a bit confused as to why you wouldn't simply take the most direct route out of any, regardless of how much damage that caused, but he's willing to indulge. And he's kind of mumbling, he's like, you do have to learn. Every time you wake up, the customs have changed. So you're saying we don't just go through the wall?
No, she'll just start to explain about Fern and how great Fern is and how much they love the inn and how many people stop here, and so it's a pretty well-known place for travelers, so we wouldn't want to destroy it too badly. And she's like mending things as she goes.
I think I'm like, are you just going in his wake, mending things?
She's like, yes, probably. Actually, that's a better mental picture.
Because as he's watching you as you do this, and he's not too sure about the whole magic situation, but I mean, just by virtue of stepping and moving existing, destruction seems to follow in his wake. So he's not too fussed about it, but he's happy to let you do this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's not making a big deal out of it. She's trying like not to make him feel bad or guilty. Just like, oh yeah, you're just a little bit bigger than the usual guest, but I'm sure they'll still be happy to have you. And she's just like cleaning up behind him as he goes. And then occasionally she's like eating her chicken.
Are you like the sober friend that takes the person that got way too out of hand at the party out and be like, I'm so
It's
sorry.
I know we're really happy that you came, but like it's just time to go now. We've got to get outside.
There are two things that you notice as you're getting towards this door, both of you. The crack in the wall that you're passing is like, at first, when you first came down, it was kind of just a little bit of like stonework that was out of place, but it has since shifted and it has crumbled around kind of the dirt and stone and kind of opened up, and it's black down there, and kind of cold air rushes up from under it. And Gindrock, there's like two competing smells that you have. There, from that crack, there's a very familiar smell. From that hole in the wall, there is a very familiar smell of the places that you've been. The places that you've been, the areas that you sleep, where your family lived underground, like all of those things, right? You think that, like that's just the smell that you have coming from that spot there. As you get closer to the door, the one thing that you notice is there is a very distinct smell of chicken, but it is not cooked. And it is you have the smell of the beast of the chicken, the thing that you hunted in the wild. And it is
chicken?
Somewhere behind that door. That's what you smell, right? Like when you were thinking of chicken, that is the thing that kind of comes up, basically.
Oh no! It was just said salmonella in the chat.
Right, so I turn to... Yeah, oh, sorry, please continue.
No, go for it.
I was just going to say, I think I leaned down on one knee down to Nutella and I asked, in my time, these creatures took 2 or 3 stone badgers to wrestle to the ground. The plains. We hunted them for sport, for food, and for legends that we might pass on to each other. And he pulls out just like, he spits out the carcass like, and catches it. And he's like, when did they make them so small?
She like looks at her chicken and she's like, these are pretty big for us. This is only the biggest size that we need. I mean, I'll probably save half of this for tomorrow or the next day. You never know when your next meal will come, so it's best to stock up now. And she's like tucking some of them like a drumstick like in her pouch, And she's like, I don't think I've ever seen one. She like looks around for the largest one. There's like one that's really big, like kind of like a big Thanksgiving turkey. She's like, that's a really big one, but it's still like not big.
He reaches for it, and then
She's like, that one would feed a family of just mice.
and then he puts it back down. You know.
Nutella, what you'll remember, you're telling him about this, and then you overheard this. It was the thing that kind of got your attention. But the frog merchant was talking about how he went to great expense with great magic.
Oh yes, the monster of feathers and meat. That is what I wrote in my notes.
That they were through some kind of arcane learning were able to make these things small, that and then be able to cook them, right? So there is you would remember kind of an unnatural sense of this, right? That this is a fabrication.
So she would say, you know, through the magic of agriculture and domestication, we bred only the smallest ones until they became small.
Bad.
Oh man.
I think everything you just said is just so completely antithetical to Gindrock's entire worldview.
Yeah.
He says,
Where is bigger is the better? Where bigger is better?
Yes.
Right, this is the part where we have Mr. DNA from Jurassic show up. Sorry, who's still reading.
Let me tell you about dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'll say, you know, but I am remembering there was a frog at the banquet. I wouldn't call
"Oh, I
it a
haven't eaten
frog.
one of those in many years. I would love to."
He, I think is a friend of the. He is a friend of the Whisktails who run this party. So I don't know if he's for eating.
Best not to ask too many questions about the family. My experience makes it a little uncomfortable for an after dining experience.
And she'll just
Oh my
move
God.
right past that, and she'll be like, I was saying that he procured a monster of feathers and meat. So maybe that is what you're talking about. It was supposed to be given as a prize to whoever could defeat to win one of the party games. And then she looks kind of distressed. She's like, but I don't think there's going to be party games here.
Oh.
And then she just goes back to eating her giant potato.
So that's where you guys are. There is so there's this giant door in front of you that seems to be the way without destroying more that you can get out, and there is this now new hole in a wall that is out, and Gindrock, it just reminds you of where you rest, right? That's just the smell that you're getting. That's the cold air. It's all of those senses. So that's where you guys are currently.
Yeah.
Down in the cave, the light is constantly changing as Dueler moves.
Mhm.
Every time the sword moves or is hidden, it darkens or shifts. And so it is
So it's like
exactly. And just like a rave, you can feel the bass, but
Oh,
it
no.
rumbles under you, and from that space around you, there's kind of a burrowing in two different spots, and from up along the ground, there's like a sound, not as big, not as terrible, but still grumbling. And you see a massive millipede digging itself out from the earth. And it just kind of, at first, it's first top, and then it goes up, and then it is able to get to, and then it just kind of pulls itself out and along, and then from the opposite side of the cavern, another one kind of comes up
Oh no.
and starts pulling itself up and along, and they start working. You see them that they kind of go along the ground, and then in unison they kind of go up and they go up onto the wall, and they stop right around the same point at two different parts of tablets that are hanging, and you see them stop and start to work at the stone on these kind of shale hangings that are peeling themselves off of the wall. And you see them, you hear them just as their like front teeth and legs kind of start chipping away at where those stones kind of still connect to the wall proper. And you see them kind of like kind of cutting away at these things, and they seem
anyone else
content to do that.
So they're starting to cut these like tablets at the where they connect to like the wall.
Yeah, so imagine like that the tablets are kind of like peeling off of the wall at a point, and so they're going up to where that connecting is, and they're starting to work it so that this will no longer be connected to the wall.
Yeah. Okay.
But the tablets they're working on though were the ones that were starting to fall off.
Yeah, they seem to start with ones that are not connected. Like they go halfway up. They're not all the way up. You see most Iskanias, you see that the ones at the top seem to be peeling the most, right? But they've started halfway up. These ones are peeling.
So they're just maintenance guys.
Yeah, that's kind of what like Iskanias, or not Iskanias. That's you, Dueler, my character.
That's me.
I'm Iskanias now.
Me. Dueler, when these things like come out of the dirt, he is like, has the sword up like this in front of his face, and then like sets himself and is ready. And then as they kind of like, I imagine that he's like getting ready, and they both just kind of like, like they have no interest in him, and they go up to these things. And so his next reaction would be to call out to them and say, "Hello, do you work here?"
That's very interesting. They stop for a minute. There's like a and it's a stop. And then there's like it's almost like a ping, like you know when there's like that, like your ears are leveling out. There's like a for like a minute, and then they just kind of they just keep
millipede.
They just keep going.
Aonix just goes, anyone else ready to get out of here?
I don't understand what they're just working. I mean, we might as well just keep moving.
Yeah, how about we go back up?
Well, unless you can climb back up that, I don't think we're getting up that way.
I just kind of
the rope's down here.
I got the rope.
Oh no, the rope's still connected to me.
Wait, do you tug on the rope?
Not like hard, but I just kind of like do the.
Akka, you are lying down, and you feel like there's a pull of the rope.
How long is this rope? Like we've been walking for a bit, right?
No, it's just down. It's not.
Oh, I thought we had started walking.
No,
so these things just show. Okay.
It's in like it's just like a circular cavern, right?
Yeah.
Like that.
Gotcha.
It's like a half dome.
I imagine
like a dry well.
Yeah, I imagine it's like the hole, and then it's kind of like it widens out at the bottom a little bit, but it's just like a cavern.
Yeah. There doesn't seem to be anything else but the cavern itself.
Yeah.
It's pretty much that's where Grindrock was sleeping, right?
Yeah. This is where Grindrock
was.
Grindrock.
Okay, so where did these centipedes?
They just dug themselves out of the walls, I think, right?
Out of the ground, yeah. They dug
Ground.
themselves from deeper under. Like they dug through whatever shale bottom and have kind of come up and seem to be intent on cutting these things off of the wall for a moment.
I'm kind of curious what's down one of those holes.
Down what, like the holes that they came out of?
Yeah, I'm gonna go take a peek.
For sure. So you look down. It's about as wide as you are, right?
Okay.
Because these things are about they're big. They're very big. It's about as wide as you are, and you look down, and it's hard to tell because it's just black, black, black. But then as you are getting close, you hear you hear a sound and you feel a rumbling, and another one is pulling itself out of that hole.
Okay.
And then there's a fourth one that comes out of the original hole. And they also on another side, they kind of go up parallel to where the other ones are, and kind of start cutting at the opposing side of the same shale tablet. Like, so there's two of them kind of cutting one thing at the same time, right? So there's like two of them kind of trying to meet it at the middle.
They're lady tramping the tablet.
Yeah, exactly. They're gonna kiss in the middle. It's gonna be the grossest centipede kiss.
Hey.
Yeah.
Now, don't.
Yeah.
Hold on a second.
I'm
I'm
sorry.
Some of us have.
hideous on this one,
Some of us have mandibles.
I'm sorry.
and that's fine.
And that's fine. I will not yuck your bug yum. I will not do that. Yeah, so you see these things, they just seem to be chomping away at these
Do the tablets, they seem to be like if those are falling, are we at risk of just being smushed?
Those ones are far enough away, but there's
Okay.
a lot of them all over.
Right.
No.
Mhm.
Yeah. How climbable do these things look?
The centipedes?
Yeah, like the centipedes.
No,
Do they have like plated chitin all the way up that I could like?
Yeah, you
I
definitely
mean,
could.
centipedes are their nature's ladder.
They,
Yeah,
I mean,
Why they have
centipedes,
I'm
the
not alone.
ladder of the underground. Yeah.
the ladder, the gross ladder.
Now, again with the gross, really.
I'm sorry, man.
Come on with this.
I'm sorry. I'm taking
I
my mammalian views and I'm pulling them. That's
stop being
Sure.
so.
they're millipedes, I should say.
They're millipedes. Okay.
Yeah, they're
Vicious
giant
canine
millipedes.
bug.
More
Right.
legs, more
You're
climbing.
being
Makes sense.
you're being a chordate centric, and I need you to stop.
coordinates.
I love it.
Excellent.
So yeah, you see, like the ones that you're trying to get at, it's about a 5-foot reach to their lowest legs.
Okay.
But you think that like it would take a bit of climbing, trying to jimmy up one of these shale tablets. But you could probably get there.
Oh no, I mean the millipede for climbing.
Yeah, the millipede.
Yeah, okay,
yeah.
I would definitely like to then just kind of like I cast a glance to Ascanius and just kind of like begin to put my hand out to put it on the millipede and like look to him for the guide of like if he's going, then I'm gonna pull my hand back. But if he kind of gives the shrug,
I think his only question would be like, what's your play? Like, what are you interested in?
Dueler's gonna put his hand on it, and then he's going to try with animal handling to try and like put his hand on it and get his little fingers of his paw into the kind of the edge to then and like start to pull his weight on it a little bit, but kind of in a way that's like slow and measured. So it's like, it's okay, it's all right. He might even be like doing the little coo, the like, it's like, it's okay, it's all right, it's okay. And he's like he's seeing Aonix who's like, and he's it's
right.
okay.
Aonix is in the middle of doing the whole like thing.
Yeah.
Hey, honestly, just hold it onto the rope like,
Yeah.
if no one else is going up, I'm going up.
And so I'd like to animal handling to try and like calmly start climbing the back of this millipede.
Totally. All right. Okay.
So we found Duelist's new mount.
It is a 20.
You're able, like, at first you touch this thing and there's like it's like the chitin kind of like fences out a little bit.
Yeah.
But whatever you do, it seems to calm and just take a part of its task. And as you're climbing up, the two of them that you're climbing one of them, and those two finish their job. right?
Right.
They finish their task, and there's like a and this thing kind of arcs above and past you and just down onto the ground, right?
Yeah.
Killing Ascanius. Yeah, I see where this is going. That's fine.
Flattening him entirely.
Yeah.
TPK for no.
Just one PK.
And then, like,
It can be a TPK because half the party is up.
Exactly.
There, and then just a moment later, the second tablet falls to the ground, and you're holding on, and they go a step higher, and it goes a step higher, and to the next, it's like 5 feet up to the connecting point of the next one, and
Can I make any sense of what's on this tablet that just fell down? Like, is any of it intelligible?
It's a text that you can't read, but it is clearly a text.
Okay.
It's a text, and there are images that accompany it. You see the hulking frames of badgers climbing up a cliff to a spot. That's on one part of it. There's another part of it where they seem to be setting like a ritual almost at like a plateau, with a cave behind it, and the rest is just like, and it's a clear alphabet, but it's illegible to you, right?
Okay.
So that is currently happening. Aeonix, are you climbing up?
So as I see what the other two are doing, I'm just pulling up, see if my wonderful proud scale sorcerer catcher is gonna start pulling me up. If not, I'm gonna start trying to shimmy my way up.
Okay, so you feel Aka, you feel a couple tugs.
Oh no!
You feel a couple tugs, and you don't do it, and then it stops, and then all of a sudden there's a pull, and like Aeonix, for a minute you're getting up there, but then all of a sudden you start coming down again a little bit.
Oh no!
As your body starts sliding towards the edge of the hole.
It's gonna be great.
If any, y'all are in the kitchen. Y'all don't see Aka at all.
No.
Where are the mouse?
No. So
it's just him clawing at the ground as hard as he can.
Okay.
And you see the little mage hand doing the same thing, but it's not connected to anything. It's just there trying to dig too.
It's like unconsciously.
Yeah,
he's making that happen.
Me. Like I'm digging like a crazy person. Just and you just see the little mage hand going.
Are any of the mouse folk helping him?
Not currently. So you're sliding. The party is surprisingly starting to begin again, and the music has been as best as possible.
Classic mouse folk.
And so music has once again started, and tables are getting placed, and you can call out in a second, and if you want to, we'll definitely do that. Because we're about to stop in a minute because we've hit our time. So you're slowly kind of sliding down towards the hole. Gindrock, you're heading towards this one entranceway, and there's that one place. Pardon?
I was just going to say, I had a way to get back in this scene. If we needed, I don't know if it's meta or something. You tell me what you think, Lee. Just as they're resetting the party. Yep.
Yeah. So here I have here. So there is something that you feel, right? Like there is a story. Your history is on your back, and it comes from the places that you live. And there is a threat to your lineage known as the Eaters. And anytime that there's the understanding that story will die if it's gone. And you're going towards this big door. You smell a beast, but then you have the sense of a dying story. And then it's one, and then it's another one, and then you're thinking about your memories, and one is starting to fade a little bit.
Oh no.
And it's coming, and the sense of it is coming from that gap in the hole. As Dueler, as you're on these things, as it's going. And so that is where we're going to end our game for this time. So hopefully, that's a hook that can get us all together.
Can we just play D&D like,
forever?
for like a while longer?
Wow.
Please, Dad, like 15 more minutes.
Can we play D&D?
Here it is, Dad.
Can we play
Dad?
Can we play Dad? That was Drika for everyone who is not on our personal stream. I just showed that up there. Everyone, thank you so much for being here. This is such an incredible game.
It was so fun.
So much fun. And I didn't die.
Yay! No one has died yet.
Don't let anybody ever tell you that you have to have combat for D&D to be fun.
No, I have been thinking about that dolphin die for a month.
Even outside of combat, the game can try and kill you.
Exactly.
That's true. You never know when a spear will fall from the sky.
Actually, I did know.
That's true.
I watched it.
You watched it. That's very true. Everyone, thank you so much for coming. Something that I forgot to mention is that if you have questions about the game that you want to ask about this particular game, how it came to be, or ask any questions to our party, something that you can do either in the stream before you leave is you can hit !questions, or if you at myself, Insight Check Pod, or anybody here with the hashtag questions and then the hashtag Smallfolk D&D, we will collect those questions together and we will make a stream. We'll make like a little chat on Twitter where these incredible people and myself and our producer Drika can answer any questions that you have about the stream, the story, and just who we are as people.
The best Techomancer. The best.
Baby Alyssa. That's what we'll say. It's like Baby Wizard, but for
Baby Wizard.
Baby Scotch Goblin.
Baby Scotch. Oh, I like that very much. I like that a lot.
Drika, if you don't drink scotch, you gotta start drinking scotch now.
You could choose your own drink of choice.
Yeah.
That's drink whatever you want.
Any alcohol goblin, I guess.
You are an adult. You could be the whole milk goblin. It doesn't matter.
Wait, who drinks?
Just chugging a pint of milk every session.
Thank you guys so much. Stay kind, stay curious, stay careful out there, and remember, heroes come in all sizes. Thanks for coming to the Valley. We'll see you next time. Take care.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.